Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. I know everybody's so busy. We're just swamped with all kinds of things we're trying to get done this last minute for the week before Christmas. I know a lot of y'all are too. And I tell you, and I tell myself, we just got to sort of catch our breath and relax and get some rest. And one of the things you can do is just enjoy Panhandle Outdoors like I enjoy putting it together. Now listen, today our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. We're looking at springtime weather, a high of 74, low of 56. Really, we've had a lot of fog lately. The water temperature is at 61.8, so it's going back up. What's fascinating, watching the forecast for the next couple of days, I've checked with several weather reports, heard 2 or 3 different meteorologists talked about how difficult, the Christmas forecast is going to be, this weekend's forecast is going to be. Nobody can really put a hand on it. I mean, today, forecasting 50% chance of rain. Monday at one time it was 90%. We just got some sprinklers. So it's really, all this fog and everything. And so this weather forecast is sometimes it's easier to do, but sometimes like now, because I see what's going on, you got different pressure systems working, you just don't know what they're going to do, and that's going to control the moisture in the air. And the fronts, you don't know how strong they're going to be, no matter how sophisticated our machinery is. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out at you. You just got a wild guess on the weather, but today they're calling for a 50% chance. So river readings, we do know that pretty steady on the river readings now, brought to us by Sandhill Seafood. Don't forget to get some good fresh seafood around Christmas time. Apalachicola Bluntstown 3.1, pretty steady. Choctawhatchee at Caryville 5.6, and it's going. I was looking at the Choctawhatchee, and I thought it was going to go up with the rain they had, but it actually is going to start dropping. And Apalachicola got a little drop. I had a picture last night sent to me by one of my old hunting buddies up there, and he lives in Tallahassee now, but he was catfishing on the Apalachicola. He's got a place down on the river, and he had some good catfish on the trout line this past weekend. So he's on the upper end of the Apalachicola up there toward Bristol and Bluntstown. All right, marine forecast is the tide chart. Let's look at tide. Mid-deep tides it's brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Low at 804 and high at 942. Marine forecast, we're talking about south-southwest at about 10 to 25, so that's going to be pretty strong right there, so be careful if you're out on an open lake or open bay or something at a small boat. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. You see, I'm writing some stuff down. The reason I'm writing some stuff down, I know y'all were expecting, I said yesterday, Travis Batchford, Officer Travis, would be on the show today. I got a call right before the show. He had an emergency. Everything's okay, but he could not come on. And it's just one of those things. And so here I'm literally driving to the show this morning and writing down some notes on, because you put yourself in my shoes. Now, you got to put on a 30-minute show. And normally I plan the night before and then get it all outlined, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I spend hours on this, a few short minutes. Sometimes it comes together like that. Well, I didn't have a lot of time this morning, so we're going to roll with it. So bear with me. We're just going to wing it. And I just jotted some notes down on the way, and I walked in. I jotted notes down as I came in. So what I normally do, I write down notes. I keep this in my truck on my console, and when I'm driving, a lot of times something just hit me. I open it up and I just write down a little note or something. So I did that driving in this morning. And then I'm scribbling them on here. Usually Gail gets them all typed up neatly so I can read it. So that's where we are. So, okay, here's the first thing I'm going to talk about. We do have one picture. Okay, let's go and show this picture. Is it up there? Okay. There's Elizabeth graduated a couple years ago. I just love Elizabeth. Elizabeth Wingrove in Weewall. She lives in Weewall now. She whacked a woody. And she's got a big one. I've showed her picture a lot on here. And she's original. If you remember, I had her on the show. She and her family is originally from England. She still has that English accent. And I often wondered, I told her, what would your English friends that you grew up with think if you were told them about your Weewall adventures? She said they just would not believe it. So anyway, good job, Elizabeth. Now, next thing we're talking about, reels. The first thing I wrote down this morning when I knew I had to do the show by myself, I wrote down reel. I've got a bucket of reels, and I'm going to bring them and show you each reel. because they're old, some of my older used reels, and what I did, they were not working. I took them down to Phil's Fix It down at St. Joe Beach. He's got a trailer right there side of the road where you can't miss it. Right there at St. Joe Beach, if you're headed toward, right before you get a wind mark on the left there. Phil did a great job. I had 7 reels in that bucket, all different sizes. He did a great job, fixed all 7 of them. And these are some good pin 4300s and some early surf pin rods. And I've always been prejudiced toward the pins. I always love those pin reels and the rods that go with them. So anyway, I had them, they're all fixed, and I got to thinking, sometimes in the wintertime, that was one of my little wintertime activities, was to just piddle around and try to repair the reels and all, sometimes something simple. But these needed some parts and all because they've been used, but they're in great shape now. He fixed them really good, so I was going to advise to you, if you can fix your reel in wintertime, this dead time we have in winter, it's a great time to spend fixing your reel. And if not, take her to somebody like Phil. He's very conscientious, he's very dependable, very honest, and does a good job, and it doesn't cost that much, and it's well worth it, because now, and I was going to bring them to you and show him how good they're spinning, but you just have to visualize it. Just pretend I have them here with me today, and I may bring them sometime. But anyway, get those reels fixed during the wintertime is the bottom line here. Next thing, I mentioned fog. I was driving in fog this morning like a lot of y'all have been, and I was thinking, outdoor activities in the fog, fishing and hunting. Fishing is tough in the fog, especially when you're on open water. I remember some times I was out with my son-in-law one time over there. We were close to the pass, and we just didn't know where the pass was because it was so foggy. And this, even though we have electronics and all, sometimes you may not be able to have them working or something. So be careful getting out in open water and fog, and also in the woods. I just like the woods when it's natural and all. When it's foggy and wet, it's really, the good part about it, you can really, if you're tracking it all and moving stealthily through, you can be really quiet, but yet you can't see very far. And everything's so damp and all, and the tracks. I remember when we used to dog hunt, our dogs never could run in this foggy weather because all that moisture had that scent sort of wiped out. And we just usually had to, find a fresh one and sort of wait till the fog lifted before we really put the dogs out. So I just wanted to mention fog. Okay, another thing, I brought in some magazines for you. I was trying to think, I was leaving the house this morning, what could I talk about? Here's some of the magazines that I get on a regular basis that as an outdoorsman, I've always had these magazines. We go way back to early days of Field and Stream, and I used to just love to read those things. I read it from cover to cover in the early Outdoor Life magazines, and that was one way we could sort of communicate with or see what's going on in the rest of the world as far as people doing outdoor stuff. So anyway, as we get ready, let me go and take a break now, and I'll get these magazines set up for you. Okay, welcome back. Before we get to magazines, I was writing down, here's our selection of our shows for the best of the year. And we're going to start on actually Christmas Day, and that's going to be fishing with Mason and Ashley, my grandkids. And here's some of the other, what's coming up. The tuna trip's going to be coming on again. The Sea Quarters tournament, we have it. Remember that quail hunt I went up there in Wausau? That was a great video. Surf fishing with Bill and Brudnicki. Let's see. And 3 or 4 more. We've got about seven good shows coming up, action shows of real life adventures and Panhandle Outdoors, of things that happen with the Panhandle Outdoorsmen. So that'll be our Christmas shows. If you get a chance to watch them on YouTube, or if you're up there, they're going to be really good stuff. It's our best videos of the year. So I invite you to watch those. Here are the magazines we're talking about. Here's these magazines, like I said, I just take magazines I always have. They're a lot thinner now than they used to be because of the technology and people on the internet and all, but I get Buckmasters, and there's always a few good articles on Buckmasters. This one, I looked on culling correctly, how you want to cull. You can always learn these, don't think we know everything. I've been outdoors all my life, and I still learn. Culling, how to cull deer correctly. There was another one here that I thought this is interesting. The evolution of the deer rifle. Remember, we all started back with those 30-30s. And remember when I had Ronnie on last week, Ronnie talked about a new gun out now, a new caliber gun. So the evolution of the deer rifle is interesting. So that's always some good information on Buckmasters. Also I get National Wild Turkey Federation. I couldn't find it this morning, but that's a National Wild Turkey Federation magazine. It's just like Buckmasters. Really good information. I mentioned the Florida Sportsman. Look at those two front teeth. What kind of fish you think that is? That's a speckled trout. those teeth they're sharp. Just take my word for it. But anyway, we talked about the Florida Sportsman yesterday, but it comes in, but like I say, how thin it is, but it's still put out, down those, the Wickstrom family started this in Miami, and actually one of the sons still runs this, so I appreciate the family still doing that. Sea-Watch, Sea-Watch is a good magazine, put out by the Coastal Conservation. They have a lot of conservation. They have remember the Star Winners, remember the fishing contest? That needs to be one of your New Year's resolutions, that you enter that Star contest. Here's all the winners of the different areas that won something, in that big tournament they had, CCA. This magazine here comes out every other month. It's the Seopa magazine, and I'm actually on the cover of this. If you notice, I know you can't see it, on the background, all these people. This is up at Kentucky Lake, and we're doing a dedication to one of our members that passed away, and that's me. Let me see. I'll tell you how I can tell it's me. I'm holding the camera up and recording, and so this is a group of outdoor riders and all, but this is really good stuff out of this, and really good stories in here. So I get these monthly magazines on a regular basis. And I do read. I go online and read a lot of stuff too. So, all those are, it's just to me being part of being a well-rounded outdoorsman, trying to see what other people are trying to communicate to you, and a lot of other things on Facebook is one of the most fascinating things, because a lot of the pictures I show come directly from my Facebook page, or either they're sent to me, text to me, or message to me, and one of the things I found out on these pictures, the quality is really good as you see them on the show. And I also pick up a lot of info too. I mentioned this yesterday. We talked about firearm safety. And I'll tell you the 10 Commandments. I'm going to go ahead and read them. I got time today to read these to you. The 10 Commandments of firearm safety. Number 1, treat every firearm as if it is loaded. We've talked about that, and I'm glad they put that in number 1. Number 2, control the muzzle of your firearm. Keep the barrel pointed up in a safe direction. Never point a firearm at anything that you do not wish to shoot. Again, these were just sent to me by, all these things are just almost redundant to me, because I've been taught since I was a young man, but so many people have not been taught this, and they're new to it. Number 3, be sure of your target and beyond. Positively identify your target before you fire. Make sure no people, livestock, roads, or buildings beyond the target. Again, I get caught up in that sometimes. I'm shooting my .22, and I got some things I'm shooting at. A lot of times you focus on that target and you forget to look past and see what's behind it. Even at my point in time in my life, I still get caught up if I don't catch myself looking for it. Number 4, again, never shoot at water on a hard, flat surface. A ricocheting bullet, that's something hard to believe. I've often thought, I got water in my front yard, and I never will shoot out in my front yard, because it hits that water, it's just going to ricochet off. So always be aware of that. Most young people would have no idea of that concept of that bullet ricocheting off of the highway or off of the water. So make sure they know that. Number 5, don't use a scope for target identification. This is interesting. And a lot of people won't do this, but it's interesting. Don't use a scope for target identification. Use binoculars. I'm guilty of that a little bit. Most of the time I'll have binoculars with me in my tree stand. Number 5, never climb a tree, cross a fence, or jump a ditch with a loaded firearm. Okay, and we know that one. Number 7, store your guns and ammunition separately. Store firearms on a lock and key, and use a gun case to transport. When you're transporting, put them in trucks and all, always put them inside with something if you're traveling to somewhere and all. Don't just throw the gun in the back of the truck and all, unless you're going straight to the woods. But if you're traveling at all, and make sure at the house the ammunition's over in one room and the guns in the other. I know some of us have emergency situations in case somebody's trying to harm our family. We have situations we get to, but make sure you got a safe situation. Number 8, make sure your barrel and action are clear of all obstructions. That doesn't happen very often, but if you're out duck hunting and all, that's the number 1 culprit. As far as when you're duck hunting, sometimes you're walking through the swamp and all, and your barrel accidentally holding it down, accidentally get some mud in it, And it's happened to me before in the woods of swamps of Liberty County. I had my old shotgun had mud in it, and I didn't know it till I just happened to just sit down and look at it. So that can happen to you, especially duck hunters. Number 9, unload the firearms when not in use. Never take someone else's word that a firearm is unloaded. Always check it yourself. Don't say, son, is that unloaded? Yes, sir, it is. Well, let me see. Don't just take their word. They may think it's unloaded, but they may not really know. So that's a really good one there. And the last one, number 10, of course, drugs and alcohol. Avoid them when hunting or shooting. Even some over-the-counter medicines may cause impairment. So those are the 10 commandments of gun safety. We're very sincere about it here in Panhandle Outdoors, as I know all of y'all are. And a lot of say these are accidents. These things are not planned. A lot of the accidents we have and all are just concerning young people and all that just do not know any better. So we really, really, really have to take control of teaching them. And speaking of accidents, well, let me go and take a break now. We're going to come back and close out the show. One more segment. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Okay, hope you got all those 10 commandments. Now let's take a look at our fish and game forecast for today. We're looking at 1:14 to 3:14 this morning, and 1:38 to 3:38 this afternoon. And we want to thank Blue Water Outrigger for sponsoring that. Now, as we get ready for the Christmas break and all, one of the things I know a lot of folks get bags of oysters and all kind of seafood, and we're going to have a fish fry. The Chester family will be meeting up in Bristol the Wednesday after Christmas on Monday. And what we're going to do, we'll do a big fish fry. It's all, the Chester family, all the immediate family. And so we'll be a big crowd, probably about 30 plus of us. So I'll go by Tarpon Dock because I want to get some fresh seafood. Now, they've got catfish and brim and all, but we're going to do saltwater fish this year. So I'll go by Tarpon Dock and keep this in mind now. They've got boats that come in. They have them scheduled. And I'm really concerned about getting some fresh fish, between Christmas and New Year's because, a lot of people take off and all. So I went by yesterday to check with them. Christmas is on a Monday. On Tuesday, they have 6 boats scheduled to come in. 6 boats will be bringing in fresh fish the day after Christmas. So keep that in mind if you're like me and going to do a big fish fry and want some good fresh fish during that week of Christmas. I know we eat a lot of deer meat, that kind of stuff during the holidays and all kind, but I like to get some fresh fish. So I'm going to be there that Tuesday afternoon after Christmas when the boats come in Tuesday morning and get them to cut me up some fresh grouper. And we're going to have some grouper and all. Now, one thing, I read this last night, it just touched me. This is a little comment, a little story of Billy Lessig. He's been on his show before, and y'all excuse me for scratching my ear. My wife told me I scratched it too much. My ears itch in the morning. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not, I can't help it at times, so I have to do it even though it may not look proper on TV. Billy fell out of a tree stand about 30 plus years ago, and he's been on the show before, does a great job, and I'm gonna read his story. He loves, you wouldn't know just listening to him and everything that, he's in a wheelchair. And he and his wife just have a wonderful, strong marriage, got a beautiful daughter, got grandkids now. So he just posted this the other day. Every now and then he'll post something and it shows what a positive attitude. And I just want to read this to you so you can read along with me if you'd like, okay? This is from Billy yesterday. While hunting today, I thought of giving you some insight as to what goes on while sitting idly for hours at a time. This time isn't wasted by me or many other men I know. As for me, I feel closer to God sitting alone deep in the woods than at any other time. So I pray sometimes for hours that my family, for my family mostly, for those on our prayer list at church, and also for many of you who have coveted prayers. My favorite of the Bible is Psalms. There is no better guide to learn to pray. When David speaks to God, it's as if he is talking to a friend carrying on a conversation. What I never pray for is that God allows me to kill a deer. However, I do pray that if I do get a shot at one, that my aim is true and my shot is as ethical as possible. I never want to wound an animal. I just thought I would share what goes on to many hunters' mind while sitting. And I can identify with this so much, as many of y'all can too. Sitting in that tree stand or out in the woods and all, and sometimes way out in the Gulf of Mexico, I get that same feeling. But if you by yourself in a tree stand and all, you feel a certain closeness to God and to nature, and it's just something that's hard to put in words. Billy did a good job putting it in words and all. And you never say, "Oh God, please let a 12-point walk out." A hunter never prays that. But if he does walk out, you hope your aim is true, and you hope the shot is ethical, as Billy says. So that's coming from a young man. Well, he's not young anymore, but he's coming from a man who spends his life in a wheelchair and has that positive attitude about it. And I would just, we talk about real things and real people, and I read something like that, and it just really touches me. And when I read it last night, I thought, well, I wanted to read this to y'all. I had no idea I would have opportunity to read it today. So, Billy, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the kind of man you are, and the kind of husband and father you are, and also the good Christian man you are, and what outdoorsman. And I told Billy I want to come back on the show at the beginning of the year and just talk about outdoor stuff. So, Billy, thank you. Now, here we got some stuff coming up. If you have any ideas and all for next year's show, some things that you want to see, y'all are really good about, hey, Coach, what about this or what about that? And I've tried hard to put them in there, and different guests have come on and all. I'll have a list. When we get back in January, I have a list of what we want to accomplish for 2018 on Panhandle Outdoors, and we always want to try to make it a little bit better each year. And we're into what's the year we're in now? About 12, Jeff? 11 or 12? Something like that. So, Jeff has been hanging there with me all this time, and we work hard at it. We enjoy doing it, and we get days like today when we don't have. We flew by the seat of our pants today, but we got all of it done, and I actually think I've covered everything today. So, a lot of times say I didn't get it covered today. I have covered everything that I scrambled and put on driving in this morning. So, thank you all for your patience with me this morning. Thank you all for viewing the show. And y'all have a great day today. Finish up that Christmas shopping and take some time to rest and enjoy the fellowship and your family and your friends. You have a great day. Do something good for your fellow man, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.